That's not at all what I wanted to do. Let's see. Do I have this pushed up against the wall enough? You think I would have figured this out beforehand. So that's as far as it will go. This is not at all what I was expecting it would be. Make sure I've got all of the tomatoes. Let's see if you guys can see what I'm painting when I paint it. If the camera will focus. Oh boy, that is not. You gotta work out the kinks somehow, right? This thing loves to recognize faces, but not recognizing the face I want it to. I don't want it to focus. Hey Jackie, how's it going? I'm currently streaming for fun. I decided, you know what, my wife's asleep. So why not just go ahead and stream me painting miniatures? So here I am doing that. The camera's not doing what I want it to, though, because it's just my phone. I don't have a professional setup at all. So this is not going to be like a Miniac or Squidmar thing where they have these really professional, nice cameras. See, I just knocked mine over. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a mess, especially because this is a much smaller space than I'm actually used to painting on. In my office, I don't have as much clutter. To give you an idea of what it looks like, this is just a small Walmart table that I got, right? You can see that I've got about 3 of them. They're little trays. But like, it's so much smaller than what I'm used to that it's actually really uncomfortable. But luckily, it's big enough to hold the 2 things that I absolutely need. 1, my minis, and 2, it can hold my wet palette. So, for anyone who watches miniature painting or anything like that, you probably don't want the jargon. You probably don't want you already know what a wet palette is. You already know what some of these things are. I mean, especially if you're already watching miniature paintings and stuff like that. But for a lot of my friends who don't know what it is that I do, or people who in general don't know how the hobby works, that's kind of what I'm here for. I am not, by any means or stretch of the imagination, an expert at this. In fact, I'm more or less a novice. I'm like middle of the road good. And the reason I can say that is because I've invested so much time in my hobby and so much energy and a lot of money. Thank you, Stimmy. But that's how I got the 3D printer and the light thing, the light box to cure the resin. And like I said, part of the reason I'm doing this now so late at night is I work a PRN job, so I'm on call. Basically, this stream may stop and go at any point. No, Jim, I'm not a paint master. Don't lie to people. Don't lie to them. That's called bad. But since my wife is sleeping, I can't in good consciousness paint in the office like I normally would, because these lights, as you can tell, not the garage light, obviously, But the light here that I have is particularly bright. In fact, it's maybe a little too bright. You can't see how Hispanic I am. That's how bright it is. I'm going to turn that away a little. Clearly, I don't know what I'm doing with a camera. But we're not going to worry about that. We want to know about the minis. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and set up in the garage because my 3D printer is here. I've 3D printed a lot of shit already. I've had it for about a month now, I think. And I've only painted one. Not even painted. I've only printed one thing for my brother. The rest has been for me. Jem asks, Creepheart Pasta asks, can you dab? I can. I won't. I'm not that kind of guy, but the spirit's there, I suppose. But I got excited because, obviously the lights are bright and I don't want to keep my wife up, but I've been wanting to paint. I have hundreds of minis, which is, ask any hobbyist, ask anyone who paints minis. We have a lot of minis that we have to put together, a lot that come from board games, things that we're just like, yeah, I'll get to it eventually. But I want to really, in earnest, paint my minis. I really want to go out there and, to coin a term from another one of my favorite painters, I've got a lot of YouTube painters I'm going to reference, but I want to slay the gray, as they say. I want to put as much paint on model as possible. And just kind of go from there. Jack Lover asks, how does the material feel when it gets printed? When it first prints, it's wet. It's very wet. And what you have to do is when it first comes off the resin printer, because I've got a frozen Sonic Mini. It was cheap. The printer ink itself, well, it's not ink. Also, if you hear that, that's my phone. I probably should put it on mute, but like I said, I work a PRN job. I could get a call at any time saying, hey, I have to go to a hospital to do an assessment, so I could literally end stream in like 5 minutes, but I also know there's people covering for me right now, so it's going to be a slower night for me, so I can take it a little bit easier, a little bit. I'm pushing my luck with streaming while doing this, and I haven't even gotten painted. I'm just excited about this. I'm excited because I get to share this with you, whether it's an audience of 2 people or, whoever rambles in. So I'm obviously really excited to do this. That's why I'm kind of all over the place, and I'm sorry about that. Creepheart, this is I will get to the dichotomy. I will get to the podcast. But my enthusiasm for this is that since I work between the hours of 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., which as of right now, it's almost 12 a.m., but I can be called on my shift way before then. I've been called yesterday or the day before. I was called at 9 p.m. to go out and do some calls, and I didn't get back until 7:30 a.m. Actually, I didn't get back until 8:30 a.m. Traffic was bad. That being said, these streams could be hours, they could be minutes. So I apologize in advance for that. Now, how all of this kind of started for me as well is that I figured I'm needing to stay awake at night, and I want to try doing something every night a little bit different. Yes, I do graveyard shifts. It's basically a graveyard shift. And then during the day, sporadically right now, I'm seeing clients. So to get my LPC hours, I'm a licensed practicing counselor associate, meaning I'm not fully licensed, but I do counseling. In order to get my counseling degree, or I already have a degree, in order to get my counseling license in the state of Texas, I need to do 1,500 hours of direct contact with clients and 1,500 indirect hours. All of that is completely unnecessary background and detail to what I'm doing here today. Completely unnecessary, but just to give you a little bit of context of where I'm going. So that being said, I don't have all of that free time that I thought I was going to have initially, because I've run on 6 hours of sleep before. I mean, I've done it consistently, but not at such weird hours. So what happens is it comes 6 a.m. or whenever I'm home, I go to sleep, wake up at 12:15, see a few clients, maybe get some reading in, maybe get some writing. I haven't been writing as much as I should, honestly. But then there are nights like this where there are 3 other people working or 2 other people working. It's not going to be as busy. So I have that chance to start and pick up whenever I go. So I figured Thursday nights, Thursday evenings, or mornings, technically, I might stream more regularly. I might pick up a few more days of streaming depending on how much time I have, honestly. Creepart asks, ever feel like you run on a half hour of sleep before? No, because I actually get a decent amount of sleep. I just know that for me, 6 hours is usually good enough. And what's been happening lately is once my wife gets home, we've eaten, maybe watched something, a thing or two, and then we sleep until 9 p.m. I wake up, shower, and get ready for my day. So it's not, I usually get some type of sleep, but like days like today, I'm full of energy. I feel like this is a really great time to start this. So I figured, why the hell not? It's something I've been wanting to do, something that I've been interested in doing. I just wish the camera were better. Getting a lot of different notifications. And that's all Creepart. Just letting people know that I'm currently streaming. I appreciate that. So if you hear that lightsaber sound, I'm sorry. I don't mean to annoy you guys. It's just my friends are helping me. Anyway, I'm gonna stop apologizing for so much shit. I'm a therapist. I know I need to stop apologizing for shit. So let me go ahead and start by saying I've done a lot of printing recently, successfully, and I'm really happy about it. And one of the other things I get to showcase too are some of the things that I've collected over the years, some of the things that I've been wanting to paint. Like, eventually, I'm going to paint all, and I mean all, of the miniatures from my Hellboy board game. Anyone who knows me obviously knows I love Hellboy. My favorite and absolute superhero, comic book hero, greatest paranormal investigator of all time. Everyone who knows me knows I love Hellboy. That's why I named myself the Right Hand of Doom for the channel years and years ago. Back in the days when I was doing creepypastas instead of Laughably Dapper Entertainment. My podcast alongside my wife. And right now you can go listen to that if you want. Yes, Jack Lover actually drew me as Hellboy as a gift, which I want to say was 3 years ago, maybe 4. And I've been using it as my channel art ever since, and I am eternally grateful for it. It is wonderful. I literally have the original on my wall. I just wish I could find a frame to put it in and a place that's not like so hidden, because I feel like I unfortunately put it in the worst possible place in my den where no one can see it. Creepart says cosplay as Hellboy. I have multiple times before, actually. It's usually my go-to cosplay. Because for me, he's just this amazing character. I don't know if you guys can even tell on here, that my lanyard is Hellboy. And my paint case, because this is salient to what we're talking about, my paint case has the BPRD logo on it. I specifically had it made with that logo because it has a lot of meaning for me, and it looks so fucking cool on wood. It looks like it's a prop from the movie, and until you open it, it's like, what's in there? Oh, it's paints, but like, that's so cool. I love it. It's one of the favorite things that my wife has ever let me buy. I would love to cosplay the drawing version of Hellboy as well. Like it would be really fun. I just have no idea how to do the horns, and I'm one of those people, I love seeing cosplay, but I've never actually wrapped my head around how to do cosplay myself. My wheelhouse legitimately is painting minis. And even then, I'm, again, not an expert. So just to give you an idea, this is a base that I painted up recently. I also 3D printed this base for a tiefling that my wife is going to be using in D&D games. Again, I also love D&D, so all of my interest just coming out. You're going to get to know me way more than you probably want to. You just like, where the hell is the painting? Where's the minis? I'll get to it, I promise. But this is the first thing, one of the first things I 3D printed that came out successful. And it's just a base for this tiefling here that I've been kind of painting up a little bit. The only problem is obviously you can't really see what's happening here because my camera for some reason wants to focus on my face, and I can't get it for the life of me to focus on the mini. Let me see if I can switch the camera around here just so you guys can get a better look at this miniature. Boom! That looks a lot better already. And as you can see, like, this is the base for it, and I printed them at the same time because they were small enough on the resin printer. But some of the details, like on her face, for example, kind of got muddled. So me being the nerd I am was like, I'm not happy with this because Arch Villain Games makes some really nice minis. So I printed it again in a much larger format. And as you can see, all of the details, all of them are lovingly on display here. It is a gorgeous model. And this is the problem I have with miniature painting, is that sometimes you get minis, and just for a size comparison, this is supposed to be the miniature that size you use for Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, you can see a difference, right? You can see obviously how huge one of them is. And another example of this, the base size. So again, this is the proper size base for Dungeons and Dragons, board game, that sort of thing. But to fit her on here, yeah, it could actually, like, if I didn't drop it, it could legitimately fit on here, but it would also obscure some of the details, like the playing cards that are on the floor. Let me switch my camera around here for you again. So you can see it would technically fit on here. Technically. But it's obviously, again, not to scale. So I 3D printed this proper size one for her. Yeah, same miniature, just blown up a little bit. And just to give you a size comparison, here's the original base that I've already painted up, and here is the it's a little harder on here to see, so let me just stack this on top of there. That's how big it is. Jackie Lover asks, how long does it take to print and paint? That depends wildly on what you're painting and what you're printing. So this print, for example, took with the base together on the same plane, I want to say these took 3 hours, maybe less actually. They may have been 2 hours. So funny story. Thursday, literally last week, I broke my phone walking out of the hospital that I was going to. And when I got home, my wife was leaving. I was taking out the trash, and I didn't realize that I had locked the door behind me. So I locked myself out of the house, and by the time I realized it, my wife was long gone. Thankfully, I kept the garage door open. I've been keeping it open when I'm home because I go in there so much. But yeah, I locked myself out of the house like a fucking goober, right? God, that is the second ambulance today. Jeez. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but... Oof. Oh boy. Things I can't control. This is the problem with live streaming this sort of thing. Anyway, I locked myself out of the house. Slept on a piece of cardboard and because at that point it was 6 a.m. I was exhausted. I had been up since 9 p.m. the day before. So running on fumes, I slept on a cardboard box with a with a tablecloth of all things. But in that time, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna be stuck in here for 8 or more hours. In my garage. I could have tried to break into my house if I really wanted to, but I thought, you know what? It's cheaper to just wait for my wife than to break into my own home and have to replace either a door or a window. Because most of that stimmy money went to 3D printer. That being said, I actually managed to print quite a few things. This took about 3 hours to print these 2 items on the same plate, which wasn't bad. And actually, what I did too is that same day, I ended up basing the things I printed. Hi guys, welcome to the stream. The next thing I did after that is I started printing out the heads for a character that Archvillain Games created called the Grinning God. I keep calling it the Laughing God because it seems like an obvious reference to the Harlequin's God from Warhammer 40k. But it's supposed to be something different. It's very similar to Hekna, actually. Hey, Ray Noodle, welcome. But yeah, so I printed and based these in the same day, and there's another head here. So these heads all together only took they only took about it took these only 2 hours to print. The wonderful thing is that they all come pre-supported. This one I actually had enough time to put a magnet on as well, so that I can just go ahead and drop him fucking completely. So that I can go ahead and essentially put the different heads on the body. That's where I'm gonna need y'all's help in a bit, is choosing a color scheme. But something like that took about 2 hours, all at the same time. Hang on, I realize that I don't have